Yo, had a bit of slower day today. Time to relax. I had the great opportunity to meet Doug Baldwin today, take a picture, had a bit of a conversation, but it's time to read. Time to get after it. Moving into Quadrant 2. If Quadrant 2 activities are clearly the heart of effective personal management, the first things we need to put first, then how do we organize and execute around those things? The first generation of time management does not even recognize the concept of priority. It gives us notes and to-do lists that we can cross off, and we feel a temporary sense of accomplishment every time we check something off. But no priority is attached to items on the list. In addition, there is no correlation between what's on the list and our ultimate values and purposes in life. We simply respond to whatever penetrates our awareness and apparently needs to be done. Many people manage from this first generation paradigm. It's the course of least resistance. There's no pain or strain. It's fun to go with the flow. Externally imposed disciplines and schedules give people the feeling that they aren't responsible for results. But first generation managers by definition are not effective people. They produce very little, and their lifestyle does nothing to build their production capability. Buffeted by outside forces, they are often seen as undependable and irresponsible, and they have very little sense of control and self-esteem. Second generation managers assume a little more control. They plan and schedule in advance and generally are seen as more responsible because they show up when they're supposed to. But again, the activities they schedule have no priority or recognized correlation to deeper values and goals. They have few significant achievements and need to be schedule oriented. Third generation managers take a significant step forward. They clarify their values and set goals. They plan each day and prioritize their activities. As I've said, this is where most of the time management field is today. But this third generation has some crucial limitations. First, it limits vision. Daily planning often misses important things that can only be seen from a larger perspective. The very language of daily planning focuses on the urgent, the now, while third generation prioritization provides order to activity. It doesn't question the essential importance of the activity in the first place. It doesn't place the activity in the context of principles, personal mission, roles, and goals. The third generation value-driven daily planning approach basically prioritizes in quadrant 1 and 3 problems and crises of the day. In addition, the third generation makes no provision for managing roles in a balanced way. It lacks realism, creating the tendency to overschedule the day, resulting in frustration and the desire to occasionally throw away the plan and escape to quadrant 4. In its efficiency, time management focus tends to strain relationships rather than build them. While each of the three generations have recognized the value of some kind of management tool, none has produced a tool that empowers a person to live a principle-centered quadrant 2 lifestyle. The third generation notepads and to-do list gives us no more than a place to capture those things that penetrate our awareness so we don't forget them. The second generation appointment books and calendars merely provide a place to record our future commitments so that we can be where we have agreed to be at the appropriate time. Even the third generation, with its vast array of planners and materials, focuses primarily on helping people prioritize and plan their quadrants 1 and 3 activities. Though many trainers and consultants recognize the value of quadrant 2 activities, the actual planning tools of the third generation do not facilitate organizing and executing around them. As each generation builds on those that have preceded it, the strengths and some of the tools of each of the first 3 generations provide elemental material for the fourth. But there's an added need for a new dimension for the paradigm and the implementation that will empower us to move into quadrant 2. To become principle-centered and to manage ourselves to do what is truly most important. The quadrant 2 tool. The objective of Quadrant 2 management is to manage our lives effectively from a center of sound principles, from a knowledge of our personal mission, with a focus on the important as well as the urgent, and within the framework of maintaining a balance between increasing our production and increasing our production capability. This is admittedly an ambitious objective for people caught in the thick of things in quadrant 3 and 4, but striving to achieve it will have a phenomenal impact on personal effectiveness. A quadrant 2 organizer will need to meet 6 important criteria. Coherence. Coherence suggests that there is harmony, unity, and integrity between your vision and mission, your goals, your roles and goals, your priorities and plans, and your desires and discipline. In your planner, there would be a place for your personal mission statement so that you can constantly refer to it. There also needs to be a place for your roles and for both short and long-term goals. Balance. Your tools should help you to keep balance in your life, to identify your various roles and keep them right in front of you so that you don't neglect important areas such as your health, your family, professional preparation, or personal development. Many people seem to think that success in one area can compensate for failure in other areas of life, but can it really? Perhaps it can for a limited time in some areas, but can success in your possession compensate for a broken marriage, ruined health, or weakness in personal character? True effectiveness requires balance, and your tool needs to help you create and maintain it. Quadrant 2 focus. You need a tool that encourages you, motivates you, actually helps you spend the time you need in Quadrant 2 so that you're dealing with prevention rather than prioritizing crises. In my opinion, the best way to do this is to organize your life on a weekly basis. You can still adopt and prioritize on a daily basis, but the fundamental thrust is organizing the week. Organizing on a weekly basis provides much greater balance and context than daily planning. There seems to be implicit cultural recognition of the week as a single, complete unit of time. Business, education, and many other facets of society operate within the framework of the week. Designating certain days for focused investment and others for relaxation or inspiration. The basic Judo-Christian ethic honors in Sabbath, the one day out of every 7 set aside for uplifting purposes. Most people think in terms of weeks, but most third-generation planners tools focus on daily planning. While they may help you prioritize your activities, they basically only help you organize crises and busy work. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And this can best be done in the context of the week. A people dimension. You also need a tool that deals with people, not just schedules. While you can think in terms of efficiency in dealing with time, a principle-centered person thinks in terms of effectiveness in dealing with people. There are times when principle-centered Quadrant 2 living requires the sub-orientation of schedule to people. Your tool needs to reflect the value, to facilitate implementation rather than create guilt when a schedule is not followed. Flexibility. Your planning tool should be your servant, never your master. Since it has to work for you, it should be tailored to your lifestyle, your style, your needs, your particular ways. Portability. Your tool should also be portable so that you can carry it with you most of the time. You may want to review your personal mission statement while riding the bus. You may want to measure the value of a new opportunity against something you already have planned. If your organizer is portable, you will keep it with you so that important data is always within reach. Since Quadrant 2 is the heart of effective management, you need a tool that moves you into Quadrant 2. My work with the 4th generation concept has led to the creation of a tool specifically designed according to the criteria listed above, but many good 3rd generation tools can easily be adapted because the principles are sound. The principles or specific applications can vary from one individual to the next. There's a lot going on in the next couple of pages, so I'll actually take a pause there I mean, let's reflect on a couple things that I think is important and something that I want to actually talk about, which was the idea around the second generation, which was show up. And now it kind of correlates to the third generation, but there's a lot of stages in our daily activities, especially when it comes to what we truly desire or what roles or what goals we have in place. But I think showing up is probably one very important aspect. And I'll put this in perspective when it comes to a school perspective, right? And we all have a schedule, or we all have classes, at least from my perspective. When you're in school, you have classes, you have schedules, but when you have the opportunity and the option to decide, okay, should I go to class or not, especially in a college, context, you have the choice to go up. Now, most people, because they had a bad night, because they didn't sleep so well, they woke up late, they won't show up. Or perhaps they just don't really feel like showing up because they want to lay in bed and do whatever otherwise. But if you just show up and take the time to just show up to class and learn something new, I think that's always valuable. And I think that's a true testament of the kind of person that you want to be. What is your personal mission statement? If it's really showing up, that's one aspect. Or if you want to learn something new, that's one aspect. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but I just kind of reflecting back on this, I think one key takeaway is definitely the aspect of being able to show up when you're supposed to show up. There's also one thing that I want to talk about, which was I think the idea around coherence, and how everything should be. Now the word is coherent, but everything should be like, how do I put this together into words? Everything should come together. Every little thing should have its place, or plays a big role, or plays a big part into what you want to achieve, or what you want to have as your mission or as your vision. And each component is very important. I hope that makes sense, but let's say you want to do better in the gym. You go 5 days out of the week, boom, you show up. But you're not really pushing yourself. Or better yet, you're not eating the best. Or you're drinking a lot. Yeah, you're showing up to the gym, but each component that's going into your goals of doing better in the gym, whatever, kind of goals or ambition you want to be at the gym, if one or two or three or four components of it or parts of it are not, contributing to that goal, it's not cohesive. It's not in unity. And showing up is a very important aspect, like I said, but if you're not pushing yourself or you're not doing other things that contribute to the overall success of going to the gym and bettering yourself, then what's the point? Saturday, tomorrow is the Seahawks game, so I'm really excited about that. I hope the Seahawks is gonna win. My prediction is 32-17. Seahawks with the dub. But thank you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.